The Galactic Summit was meant to symbolize unity, a beacon of hope for a galaxy torn apart by millennia of distrust and territorial disputes. Among the assembly of towering Zorathans, glimmering Zynar, and countless other alien dignitaries stood Earth's representative, Ambassador Rachel Carter. She was the sole human in the chamber, a figure dwarfed by the grandeur of the imperial palace, yet carrying herself with unshakable resolve. Her voice was steady, her words deliberate, as she defended Earth against accusations hurled by the Galactic Empire. The Empire's envoy, a towering figure clad in ornate battle armor, accused humanity of violating trade routes and withholding resources vital to the galactic economy. But these were thinly veiled fabrications. Everyone in the chamber knew the truth. The Empire sought to make an example of Earth, a young species defying the natural order. The smaller powers whispered in hushed tones, too fearful to challenge the Empire's dominance. Humanity has done nothing but uphold its agreements, Rachel said, her gaze unwavering despite the growing hostility in the room. But we will not bow to unfounded accusations designed to strip us of our sovereignty. Earth has always sought peace, yet we will not compromise our dignity to appease bullies. The Emperor himself, Velthar, watched from his gilded throne. His expression, hidden behind a ceremonial mask, betrayed nothing as Rachel's words echoed through the chamber. But when she finished, he rose, a towering figure exuding power and menace. Arrogance, he declared, his voice amplified by a translator that resonated like thunder. Your species knows nothing of its place. You cling to notions of equality, of defiance, as if your words can shield you from reality. No more. With a flick of his hand, the guard surrounding Rachel stepped forward. For a moment, she held her ground, but the room erupted into chaos as she was seized. Dignitaries from less powerful worlds averted their eyes, unwilling to intervene. The act was swift, brutal, and public. Her execution was carried out on the very steps of the imperial throne, her final words drowned out by the Emperor's decree. This is the fate of all who challenge the Galactic Empire. Back on Earth, the broadcast reached every corner of the planet. The image of Rachel's lifeless body struck at the heart of humanity, a species that had always cherished its emissaries of peace. For a moment, there was only silence. Then came the rage. World leaders convened within hours, their usual rivalries forgotten in the face of this shared tragedy. This was not just an insult. It was a declaration of contempt for humanity's very existence. For centuries, Earth had overcome adversity, wars, famine, disasters. Now, it faced a greater challenge. We have tried diplomacy, declared President Eleanor Choi in a global address. Her voice, though measured, carried the weight of fury. They answered with blood. Now, they will reap the whirlwind. The decision was unanimous. Humanity would no longer plead for respect. It would demand it through fire and steel. The death of Rachel Carter ignited a fire that burned across Earth. The news channels replayed the footage endlessly, a stark reminder of the Galactic Empire's disdain for humanity. Factories shifted into overdrive, churning out materials not for commerce, but for war. The Coalition of Earth, a global union of previously fractured nations, activated emergency protocols that had been theoretical until now. Human ingenuity, long underestimated by the galaxy, became humanity's greatest weapon. Scientists who had spent their lives working on energy solutions pivoted to weaponizing fusion technology. Engineers designed new spacecraft that were faster, stealthier, and more lethal than anything Earth had ever conceived. AI systems, once regulated out of fear of their potential, were now unleashed to augment everything from fleet coordination to battlefield strategies. The first prototype of humanity's warships, the Erebus-class dreadnought, was completed in record time. Over 3 kilometers long, it was equipped with particle cannons, quantum shields, and drone bays holding thousands of automated fighters. It was not alone. Entire fleets were constructed in Earth's orbit, a testament to the sheer will of a united species. What humanity lacked in numbers, it made up for with innovation and determination. Civilians played their part as well. Factories ran 24/7, manned by volunteers and automated systems alike. Artists turned their talents to morale-boosting propaganda, broadcasting messages of resilience and defiance to inspire the masses. Even children contributed, writing letters to soldiers and assembling care packages to be sent to the fleet. The unity was unprecedented. Yet, this was not blind rage. The coalition leadership, led by President Eleanor Choi and Admiral Marcus Steele, approached the war with cold precision. The first step was intelligence. Spies and reconnaissance drones infiltrated the Empire's networks, gathering data on their fleet formations, supply lines, and weak points. Every detail was analyzed, and every weakness was exploited. "We are not just going to fight them," Steele declared during a global broadcast. "We are going to outthink them. We will dismantle their arrogance piece by piece." Training became a priority. Soldiers from every corner of the globe were trained in zero-gravity combat, cyber warfare, and interplanetary tactics. The Empire had size and experience, but humanity had adaptability. Veterans of Earth's countless conflicts taught guerrilla tactics that would exploit the Empire's rigid doctrines. Despite the grim circumstances, a sense of purpose filled the air. For once, humanity was united under a single banner. Flags of nations that once competed for dominance now hung side by side on Earth's warships. Soldiers carried a simple motto into battle: never again. As the final fleet prepared to launch, President Choi addressed the planet one last time. "They thought us weak because we sought peace. They thought us scattered because we were divided. Now they will see the truth. Humanity is not weak nor divided. We are relentless." The fleet departed, 1,000 ships strong, piercing the void of space. Behind them, Earth stood silent but resolute, waiting for word of their triumph or their fall. The first confrontation was swift and brutal. Humanity's fleet arrived at the edges of the Empire's territory, encountering scout ships and border patrols that had grown complacent in their dominance. The Empire's forces were vast, but their strategies were predictable, their formations rigid. Humanity's commanders exploited this, deploying decoy ships and coordinated attacks that dismantled the enemy's ranks before they even realized the scale of the threat. Earth's Erebus-class dreadnoughts led the charge, their quantum shields shrugging off enemy fire while their particle cannons tore through Imperial cruisers with surgical precision. Accompanying them were swarms of AI-driven drones, each programmed with adaptive algorithms that allowed them to outmaneuver and overwhelm the Empire's fighters. These drones operated in perfect unison, executing maneuvers that no organic pilot could replicate. As the humans advanced, they targeted not just the Empire's ships, but its infrastructure. Supply depots were destroyed, communication relays disabled, and key trade routes disrupted. The strategy was clear: cripple the Empire's ability to respond. Every victory was a blow to the Empire's pride, but more importantly, it was a step closer to justice. The first major battle occurred in the Nullarbor Nebula, a region of space known for its unstable energy fields. The Empire had stationed a massive fleet there, believing the nebula's chaotic environment would deter any attackers. But humanity thrived in chaos. Their scientists had studied the nebula's anomalies, crafting strategies to use its volatile nature to their advantage. When the Imperial fleet moved to engage, they were met with an onslaught unlike anything they had encountered before. Human ships darted in and out of the nebula's energy pockets, using the interference to mask their movements. AI-guided missile strikes emerged from seemingly random directions, each one landing with devastating accuracy. The Imperial flagship, Judgment of Velthor, unleashed its full arsenal, but it was too slow, too cumbersome. A critical moment came when Captain Daniel Reyes, commanding the Horizon, led a daring strike against the flagship. The Horizon and its squadron of drones managed to penetrate the flagship's defenses, targeting its core reactor. The explosion lit up the nebula, a fiery reminder of the Empire's vulnerability. The victory at Nullric's Nebula was more than a tactical success. It was a message. Across the galaxy, oppressed species who had watched Earth's defiance with cautious hope began to stir. Whispers of rebellion spread like wildfire, and the Empire, once seen as invincible, now seemed fallible. But humanity knew better than to grow complacent. Each victory came at a cost. Ships lost, soldiers sacrificed, resources stretched thin. The Empire, though wounded, was still a formidable adversary. They would regroup, they would retaliate, and they would not forgive. As the humans fortified their newly gained foothold, Admiral Steele addressed his commanders. "We've proven we can stand against them. Now we show them we can break them." This is only the beginning. The fleet pressed on, leaving behind a shattered nebula and a galaxy that was beginning to believe in the impossible. The war reached its climax as humanity's fleet pushed deeper into the heart of the Empire, dismantling its defenses with calculated precision. What had begun as a retaliation for a single act of brutality had grown into a campaign that redefined the galaxy. The Empire's vast borders crumbled, its territories falling to rebellion and chaos as humanity's advance inspired long-suppressed uprisings among the oppressed species. The galaxy, once cowed by the Empire's power, began to see a different path, a future where the mighty could be challenged. The final push brought the fleet to the Empire's homeworld, Zora Prime, a planet wrapped in layers of orbital defenses and surrounded by the remnants of the Imperial Armada. The Empire had consolidated its forces here, hoping to make a last stand. For humanity, this was the moment to deliver the decisive blow. The battle above Zora Prime was the most intense of the war. Waves of human warships clashed with Imperial dreadnoughts in a brutal exchange of firepower. Humanity's tactics, honed through months of conflict, focused on precision strikes, targeting command vessels, shield generators, and strategic formations. They dismantled the Empire's defenses piece by piece. The Erebus-class dreadnoughts led the charge, their particle cannons carving through Imperial hulls, while their drone swarms overwhelmed the defenders. On the ground, human forces descended to the planet's surface, engaging Imperial troops in fierce combat. Cities that had stood as symbols of Imperial dominance were reduced to battlefields, their towering spires crumbling under the weight of war. Yet, amidst the chaos, humanity's soldiers moved with purpose. They weren't there to conquer. They were there to dismantle the machinery of tyranny. The final confrontation took place in the Imperial Palace, a fortress of gold and obsidian that had once been the seat of unquestionable power. Emperor Velthar, still clad in his ceremonial armor, waited in his throne room. His confidence had faded, replaced by desperation and fury. As human forces breached the palace, Velthar offered a last-ditch plea for negotiation, attempting to frame his actions as necessary for galactic stability. President Eleanor Choi, who had joined the fleet to oversee the conclusion of the war, stood before him. Her response was measured but resolute. "You ruled through fear and violence. You silenced dissent and crushed those who sought justice. Today, that era ends." Instead of execution, Velthar was placed under arrest, a symbolic act that underscored humanity's principles. The war had been fought not just for vengeance, but to establish a new order, one built on accountability and cooperation. In the aftermath, the Galactic Council was reformed, this time with Earth as a central member. The galaxy began to rebuild, inspired by the unity and determination humanity had displayed. Oppressed species found their voices, and the shadow of the Empire faded. Humanity returned to Earth, battered but victorious. They had proven that even in the face of overwhelming odds, their spirit could not be broken. The final message from President Choi resonated across the stars. We are not conquerors. We are builders. Today marks the beginning of a new era for the galaxy, an era where no voice is silenced and no injustice is ignored.